right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. We're going to just give it a few minutes for everyone to come in and give a few minutes for everyone to come in and see the broadcast. All right. We hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday. We are almost at the end of the week, thank God. I am live with the one and only Miss Natasha Blackman.
Hi.
Natasha, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Making sure your mic is working.
Okay, you got
Yes, we are live with Miss Natasha Blackman. Getting ready to dive into these myths concerning real estate because there's so many myths out there concerning real estate that has caused people to not go forward, not buy, not sell, just really have them stagnated because of these myths and these beliefs concerning real estate. Okay, let me see here. So we're gonna go over all of these myths, and we want to know where you guys are from, where you're watching from, any real estate questions that you guys may have, any concerns, we want to know about it. Put it in the comment section, and we're gonna make sure we get your questions answered, and pretty much anything that you guys are really concerned about. Because I know that when we first went into real estate, there were so many questions that I had, and a lot of these myths that we're going to be going over. I too was one of those persons that believed in these things. And so it wasn't until I got educated and I was able to learn about the real estate industry and really how things work. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just dive right in. So I have here Miss Natasha. She is the founder and owner of Blackman International Realty,
yes.
and she is the broker. She is a broker, and she has a ton of experience in real estate and buying, investing, helping clients, and over in the Orlando region. And she's here to help us debunk these myths. So, Natasha, go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about what you do and your background and all that good stuff.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Natasha. I'm the owner of Blackman International Realty. I am a broker. Let's see, my background is in pharmaceutical sales. So I was previously in that area. So I've always been in sales in a sense. So I've always been helping clients, whether it was, in the medical field and now in real estate. So I really do love what I do. So I've been doing it now, maybe 4 or 5 years now, and so new broker, So I have experience as a realtor many years, and so I have been with some of the big name companies, but just found it better, for myself, just to move forward with in growth and branch out to do my own thing. So I'm here with Portia. Thank you, Portia, for having me. And we're here to, I guess, debunk some of the myths that's, going on in real estate.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Natasha, for being here. That's my sister, y'all. That's really my sister.
Yes.
And I just love doing life with her, and being able to
Same.
even do real estate with her is just such a blessing.
Yes, same.
So
Same.
Yeah, so it's funny though because my background is medical also.
Mm-hmm.
I come out of the medical field and going into real estate, and there's like two different industries,
Mm-hmm.
two complete different industries. You got medical and you got houses. You got the body and
Mm-hmm.
you got a house. So it's kind of funny because it's like you don't think that it will be easy, or when you're coming from a complete different background than what you're used to, to be in a whole nother industry, it's not easy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
easy because there's a lot of things. But when you are receptive to learning, I think that any anything is possible.
Yeah.
When you are receptive to learn and educate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
especially how our minds and our bodies work. um and even with the saying in the real estate industry, an inexperienced agent is so much easier to train than an agent that has a ton of experience.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's because they're coming into the industry with a mind where they know nothing, a mind that is trainable, a mind that is coachable, and not allowing the past education that they've learned, versus someone that's already been in the industry.
And think they know
But a lot
everything.
of times,
And thinks they know everything, right?
yeah, yeah, and that can
Yeah.
hinder them from learning more.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Mm.
really important.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
let's talk about this first myth. This
No.
first myth that we have is probably one of the biggest myths that's
Mm-hmm.
out there when it comes down to real estate, and that is selling your home, or for sale by owner, will save you money.
Yeah.
So, or it will not allow you to have to fork out all this extra money if you do it yourself. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because I used to believe this as well. Like, okay, if a person does it themselves, or if I sell my own house, then I keep all the money, or it's going to save me money. But it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not true because it actually will cause you or put you at risk of leaving money on the table, because when you're doing it yourself, you could put yourself at risk of overpricing, which will turn away buyers, or lowballing yourself, which will be leaving money on the table.
Right.
And even as realtors, we have a system that we use, which is the MLS, the multiple listing service. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have access to so many potential and qualified buyers that may never see your house, that
Right.
you may never have access to. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that understanding this will not only help you working with a professional, it will help you save money, and not undercut yourself and not lowball yourself, because so many things can go wrong with you not working with the professional and having someone to represent you and be on your side.
That's true. That is true. Yep. Where are you going to get your comparative market analysis from? How are you going to know how to price your home, effectively so you get the best dollar for your money? Who's going to help you research the contracts, to make sure that you are signing a fair deal, so it's in your best interest to have a realtor, you know. I mean, even if you had to get a real estate attorney, but just someone in your corner to help,
Right.
you know. So,
Right. Because at the end of the day, you still want someone on your side,
yes.
someone that can understand the legal terms and all of the verbiage, the contract, and all of that. You want someone to be on your side so that you don't get taken advantage of, because that happens a lot where people are being taken advantage of because they just don't know.
Yes.
You know, the lack of education and ignorance can cost you. It
Mhm.
really can. uh just like just like the word says, for the lack of knowledge, my people are being destroyed because of the lack of knowledge. You don't want to destroy a deal. You don't want to cause your deal to not go a way that it should go,
Hmm.
because of the knowledge that you don't have.
Hmm. That's
you
true.
know I mean, it may close, but you could have you could have gotten more for it, or someone could have tried to take advantage of you. Just so much that happens with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and it's funny also because in 2020 there was the average home sold for $295, and they sold it with a realtor.
Hmm.
These are homes that were listed and sold with someone with expertise.
Right.
The homes for the that was sold by the seller, or for sale by owner homes, it was sold for $217 and nine two hundred and 17,900. That is a huge difference.
Big.
You comparing 295 to 217. Like, that's a huge difference, because I don't know if those that have ever owned a home, every dollar that you have placed in the house, every dollar that you have spent on expenses, materials, upgrade, and anything like that,
Hmm.
every dollar counts. When you get ready to sell that house, you're
Hmm.
looking for the return on your investment.
Yeah,
You're looking for the return on the equity that's in that house. So every dollar counts. We don't want to leave no money on the table.
that's true.
We don't want to leave no money on the table, and we don't want anyone trying to take advantage of us, of what we know we've invested
Mhm.
money into the property.
Yeah.
So it's
And
very
then
important.
sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes the seller needs someone that's there on the outside looking in to tell them, like, hey, you're being unrealistic. That's not
Right,
come from that, or someone that has their back and lets them know when, okay, that's not going to work, let's go this way,
right,
because you keep trying the same way and you're not getting any success from it. So
right. So it's the same way with overpricing your home. You
yeah.
don't want to overprice your home, as what Natasha was saying, because if you overprice your home, you'll be putting your property at risk of, being turned away by potential buyers that are qualified and that want to buy.
Mhm.
If a property is overpriced, where we see all the time on the market, oh, that's overpriced. Ain't no way they getting that for that. Like, you don't want to put an offer in on that, or you don't even want to entertain the property if it's overpriced.
Right. Or someone that did a renovation and it's like, no, I want all my money back invested. So I have to, sell it at this price and I have to see it. Right.
Right.
And that's not
Well,
necessarily.
you know what? Let's just go ahead and go right into that one, because that's the other one. That is the next one that we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about: renovations, getting dollar for dollar for your
Yeah.
investment.
Hmm.
Before we go in, I just want to uh I see Pastor Carmen is on, and it was somebody else I seen on. Oh, Joshua. God bless you all. Thank you all for tuning in with us. If you are watching, let us know where you're watching from, and we really want to know who we are talking and communicating with today. So let us know your questions, your comments, your concerns. Put it in the comments so that we can properly address you and properly answer your questions. So let's go ahead and talk about this dollar for dollar investment, because that's the second myth.
Okay. So that's our next myth. If you renovate your home before selling, will you get dollar for dollar return on your investment? Right? So a lot of people feel like, oh, if I renovate, I'm going to get more, back, or it's not necessarily true. There's some things that are required to be done that need to be done. For example, if you have a leaky roof, you definitely want to, get that fixed. Because for one, it would not even pass inspection or appraisal to even get financing for a deal to even happen. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the price of the house is going to increase because you've done that renovation to the home. It just means that you've done what is needed to make sure your home is a really good buy for someone. So it's not per se all the time, excuse me, about getting the most out of everything you do. It's just making sure that it's sellable.
Right. And it can actually be characterized as an over improvement of a house, you know, over improvement. And like she was saying, there's nothing wrong with it because it's helping the deal go through, but it's not always a requirement.
Hmm.
It's not always a requirement.
Right.
And you just got to know when to do it and how to do it because you don't want to put more money. You don't want to waste money. Like we're not leaving no money on the table.
Hmm.
When you're selling your house, you want to get the most out of it that you can.
Right.
And you don't want to put money on the table or leave money on the table by putting all this money into it that you really don't have to.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this third one because I think that this third one is is also just as important
Hmm.
when it comes down to just like the first one was when we talked about the for sale by owner, you doing it yourself.
Hmm.
I think the third one
Goes hand in
is
hand.
almost as equal as
Hmm.
to that one
Yeah.
because it's talking about how a buyer, as a buyer, you get a better deal if you don't use an agent. So this is the exact opposite of not using an agent as a seller. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
You're absolutely right. And a buyer not using an agent is, I guess, more beneficial, you can say, for the seller's agent on that deal because the buyer doesn't pay commission. In Florida, the buyer does not pay commission to their agent. That is actually paid by the seller. So having a realtor to represent you as a buyer is in your best interest. You want to make sure that you're getting the best deal. You want to make sure that what you're signing is it been explained to you and you know exactly what you're signing. So having a realtor for the buyer is definitely in your best interest. And no, it's not going to save you money because again, you're not even paying that cost.
Right. You're not paying it. You're not paying it. It's coming from that commission gets paid by the seller.
Yeah.
And so if anything, technically the services that your agent, your buyer's agent are providing, they're
Hmm.
free.
Hmm.
They're technically free to you
Yeah.
as the buyer
Hmm.
because you're not paying a dime towards them.
Hmm.
And so it's very beneficial because you have someone that is representing you as the buyer to make sure that you are buying a property that's going to be well worth your investment because this when purchasing real estate is a big transaction. Buying a house is one of the biggest transactions you will make in your life, buying a home.
Hmm.
And so you want to have someone that is going to represent you,
Hmm.
be on your side, make sure um, everything is going through smoothly, especially dealing with contracts, dealing with inspections, negotiations.
Hmm.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
You want someone that will be able to negotiate on your behalf. And I remember we was talking earlier, and you was talking about a situation recently that you just had with was it one of your sellers with the condo?
Oh, yes, my seller. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Oh, well, so my seller, he was, of course, selling his condo. We knew the area was very high priced, so he was going to get way more than what he was expecting anyways once the appraisal was done. And so I just asked him, he already owned it, didn't have a mortgage on it or anything, had owned it for the last 20 years, pretty much just did some work to it and just wanted to updated work, meaning it was an older condo, so he needed to update it. Wasn't like renovations that he was looking to make money off of, but I just asked him, like, hey, we can get this off the market in less than 5 days, but it has to be priced after looking at the comparative market analysis I provided him. I was like, it has to be priced what you're comfortable with, if per se it was the bottom number that you were to receive. And he gave me that number, and he was like, here, you can list it at this price. So I did that, and 2 days later, he got an offer for 30,000 over what he was asking. So, again, he didn't try to, I guess, get over, by saying my condo is worth this much. I know it's worth this much, and I'm going to milk every penny. He went for a number that was comfortable and, that he can benefit as well from. And he ended up getting 30,000 more than what he even asked for.
Wow. And see, that is what we're talking about. Good negotiation skills, not just to negotiate with a seller or buyer, but being able to talk, having the skills to talk with your client, whether your client, and this is just for realtors, whether your client is the buyer or whether your client is for the seller. You want to be able to have the skills that you need to negotiate with them. Like, listen, yes, it's worth this, but if you can get this, will you take this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, without without them perceiving it in a way of losing out,
Right.
or
That,
them losing money. Because in this situation, he got 30 grand more.
so even the price he was comfortable, he more than tripled his money from what he bought it for 20
Wow.
years ago, So he got 30,000 more on top of that. So again, he did not lose out by far by just saying he was comfortable with receiving a certain number. So even if he did receive just that bottom number, he had still tripled his money at that point. So
Wow. That is awesome.
mhm.
If you guys know anybody that is looking to buy or sell real estate, invest, flip houses, tag them in the comments, or share this broadcast so that they can receive this information, um, and get their questions and concerns answered. So let's take a look at this next myth. So this next myth is talking about agents are interchangeable. Are agents interchangeable? Is there such thing as a cookie cutter agent? Is there such thing as an agent that has everything that you need? Or is there such thing as a cookie cutter agent?
Right. Well, I believe there's no such thing, and I believe that every agent brings something different depending on their background, depending on their care of level, just depends on their character pretty much. Everyone has something different and unique that they bring, for one. And then for two, everyone has an area of specialty, should have an area of specialty, whether it is they're really good with explaining their contracts and the laws and everything in your contract that you can better understand, right? They're full of knowledge in the contracts and they can help you. Or they have a better set of skills where they're more catering to you, and they may take you to see those 10, 12 houses you want to see in that day because they very much so care about their client. They don't put a cap or a limit on how many homes you're able to go view or see. It just depends on the agent and their background. Like, for example, our background is in healthcare, right? And so we might have more of a caring side to us versus, at someone with a background in engineering. So it just depends on the agent and what they bring. And that's what makes us all so unique, is that we have something different to offer.
Right. We all come with our different set of skills, different knowledge and expertise,
Mm-hmm.
different way that we do things, different way that we transact and do business. The way that I would do business may not be the way that Natasha do business, because we two different people. So we have way two different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
We may have similar interests and similar traits,
Right.
but we still are two different people and do business differently. We have our approach when it comes down to client attraction
Yeah.
and customer service is different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's really important as well.
Right.
Knowing who you are connecting with. You want to
Mhm.
connect with somebody that you actually like,
Yeah.
that you
Absolutely. That's
actually don't
important.
mind answering the phone.
That's important.
You don't want to just connect with, because you're going to be dealing with this person from the time you sign that contract to the time you get those keys in your hand. And not only that, we as agents or realtors, we we don't look at, I mean, at least we don't. Me and you don't. We
Mhm.
don't look at, after we get done the transaction, like we don't just look at people like, oh, okay, well, business over, we're
Right.
forgetting about you, or
Mhm.
that's it. Like, no, we want to develop a relationship,
Yes.
a lifelong business professional relationship where if you need me again in the future, I'm here.
Yeah.
But if you don't, if you can't connect with that person, if you don't have no connection there, or you can't work with them on a professional level,
Mhm.
then it's going to be hard in the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
When I
whoever
was
you,
looking for a house, I had an agent, my agent tell me I wanted to go see a house in a certain neighborhood. And this agent told me, ride by the neighborhood, see if you like it first before I show you the house. Can you believe that? Like, what?
wow,
But yet you're supposed to make a commission at the end. And I'm helping you get your commission at the end, yet and still you're not willing to, do the work completely.
yeah,
So yeah, there's
wow,
some, yeah. So
yeah,
right there, when I
yeah,
decided to become a realtor after that, I was like, you know what? And it doesn't matter how many houses my client wants to see. I'm there for my client. So I will take that step to every time they call and want to see a home, I'm going to show it to them because I know what it feels like, to be denied to go look at a house that you're thinking of buying. You know what I mean? So
right, right, yeah. Because I mean, it's unfortunate, but people can be nasty.
yeah.
People can be, when it comes down to business, it can be a dog eat dog world, and people will screw you over and
Yeah.
will sleep well at night
Right.
doing it. So you want to be able to knowing who are you really doing business with, because you know I know that even like right now we're doing a transaction.
Mhm.
And I was just telling my husband, like, after this, I'm not never dealing with her ever again, because I don't like how she do business. I don't like her personality,
Mhm.
her the integrity,
Mhm.
and the fact that just the nonchalant, just don't care. Like, I will never transact business with this person on this deal again. I just
Mhm.
told my husband that recently, because I personal development, professional development, all of that is important when
Mhm.
working with people. We
Mhm.
got to be able to continue to develop personal skills, um, professional skills, that where we're not bringing our inner issues or feelings and things like that, into business, because
Absolutely.
we're talking about people lives that we're
Absolutely.
dealing with. And when it comes down to real estate, as we were saying before, it's
Mhm.
one of the biggest transactions that you'll make in your life,
Mhm. Yeah, it's
and you
unfortunate.
want to make sure that's
People set aside their feelings and
right.
stop being offended about every little thing, especially when it's not your deal. Like you're just here to assist the buyer and the seller.
Yeah,
So don't get offended. Like it's okay.
yeah. I know. Recently, my husband got a call, and these people call all the time trying to give away money. You want capital for your business? Are you looking for capital? Are you looking for a loan? Are you looking for a merchant loan? I mean, they call like every day.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if there's. We tried to block them, spam them,
They'll get
and
through.
they still find a way to call. And so he picked up the phone, and they asked him, do he want any capital? No, thank you. And try to be nice to these people. Like, no, thank you. I really don't. Can you take me off the call list?
Mhm.
And this nice gentleman hung up.
So
He hung up on us.
he didn't even hear you. Yeah, he
He
didn't even hear
just
the part, right?
like he got upset because my husband said no, and just
Yeah.
he said something smart and hung up.
Mm,
Like, who does that? So, it's very important,
mm,
people in the business arena.
yeah.
We gotta watch that. We gotta make sure that we are constantly improving ourselves, when conducting business. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Mhm.
If you see a home online, that means it's available. If you see a home online, that means it's available. So as we know, there's so many different search engines out there. There's so many different what is called an aggregator site, such as Zillow.
Mhm.
So sites like these, it's not always available. If you see a home online, or if you see a home available, it doesn't mean that it's available when using these type of sites.
Right.
Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. And that's the bad part, because it can really cause confusion when you are interested into a home, if you want to put in an offer,
Mhm.
because sites like these are just aggregator sites where they're not always up to date. They're not a part of the MLS system that we use as realtors. They're not a part of the MLS system. They're just aggregator sites where they pull information and data from the public information um,
And MLS.
records,
Mhm.
and also they pull information from the MLS and other sites. And so it's like an algorithm. It's always changing and shifting, and things
So
aren't
like,
really always being up to date. And
mhm.
so there's a lot of misinformation out there as well, where we have to be careful that we are not reading and gathering information that is not true.
Right. Absolutely.
Especially when it comes down to using it as an online tool, which is I see I'm going into our next one here. So no, if you see a home online, that means it's available. Not true at all.
Right.
It has been instances where we were inquiring about a property and found out that it wasn't available, but online it said that it was available. The
Mhm.
seller either changed their mind, they no longer wanted to sell, but the data from a certain site stated differently.
Right.
And so it can really cause a lot of frustration, because what if you really like that home? What if you really like really.
That's true.
And
So
so to save you, hmm,
that lets you know though how inaccurate the information is, right? For one, and then
right,
going into the myth that you're about to talk about, that
yeah.
will let you know right there that information is going to be inaccurate as well.
Right. Yeah. So that's why it is important that we have the most up to date and credible information. And the most credible information that you can ever have is directly from the MLS, which we
Mhm.
as realtors have access to,
And you have to
that
be
the world don't. So we have the most credible, up to date information um, from what is on the real estate market.
Mhm.
You want credible information and
That's
updates
that's right.
that you can really rely on. And so going into our next one is that using online tools, using online tools will hold on, let me go back.
Online resources.
Online resources.
Mm.
Online resources
Yeah.
can do it all. I'll let you handle that one.
So, in my opinion, I don't think so. at all. I think it's best to speak with a licensed mortgage broker for information such as, you know, how we like to play around. We've all done it. I've done it even before becoming a realtor. We like to go online and say, oh, you know, I like this house. How much would my payments be? And then you use this online mortgage calculator that's supposed to, you know, give you an estimate or a price of what, you know, a $250,000, $300,000 home would cost you, you know, monthly, when those things aren't correct at all, you know, because once you start to, because you're going to eventually have to work with a mortgage broker. So once you start to work with a mortgage broker, you'll see that the numbers are very different, you know. So again, it's 100% better to work with someone in the real estate field, such as a mortgage broker or a realtor. We can always definitely put you in contact with a credible mortgage broker as well.
Yes, especially when it comes down to finding the value of your home. I
Yes.
mean, it can be overpriced or it can be underpriced when you're looking at online tool versus getting a actual appraisal done or a CMA,
Mm-hmm.
comparative market analysis. So, because the data that they have will be different from what's actually on the market. So, you know, and it could be frustrating because, Zillow may say your house is worth 500,000, but when you actually get the appraisal or CMA done, it may say is worth maybe 400 or 450,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but having, hopes on Zillow, that will cause, some frustration. So
Mm-hmm.
this is just to, just be mindful that it's not accurate. It's not going to be an accurate number. Okay, let's go to our next one. If you if you bought or sold a home before, you'll be a pro your second time around.
You definitely won't be a pro because every transaction, every buy and or sell is going to be different every single time. You might learn something from that, you know, buy or sell, but your next one is going to be completely different. Your next deal is going to be different. Your next contract is going to be different. The
Hmm.
next estimate done, or I'm sorry, appraisal done on your home is going to be different than the last one, you know, or
Yeah.
inspection. You know, it's always going to be something new or something different that you're going to have to deal with. So, no, every transaction is not going to be the same.
Right. And you're going to be working with a different buyer or a different seller,
Absolutely.
So I look at it like this. Every baby, those that have had a baby, right? Every baby is different. Like no delivery,
Yeah.
and I've pushed out six of them. So
Yeah.
I know each and every six one of those babies that I pushed out, the delivery process was different. The
Wow.
pain was different, the pain levels, the stress levels, the pregnancy, everything was different.
Mhm.
So none of them was the same. And so you may have developed a level of expertise or professionalism in that particular transaction. But
Mhm.
just know that every transaction is different. Some may be better than others, some may be smoother than others, some may be harder, some may be more difficult than others, but everyone is different. That is the main idea here.
Yeah.
So we are actually out of time. So I just want to thank Natasha here for being with us, and we're just gonna wrap this up, and we'll have to finish off with a part two because we're out of time. But thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
And whatever questions you have, reach out to us if you have any questions concerning investments, buying, selling, flipping,
Mhm.
um, whatever.
Yeah.
Reach out, let us know, and we will be sure to help you guys, help you to get to that closing table as smooth and painless as possible. But thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for the part two. We ran out of time today, but there will be a part two where we're going to finish up debunking these myths and bringing you the most accurate and up to date information concerning the real estate market.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
God bless you all. And again, thank you for tuning in. And until next time.
God bless you guys.